just because you are so kind of in practice and enlightened and aware and remember much more regularly than most of us, how do you explain, what is your view of, can everybody, if everybody woke up to your knowing, is the end goal of life like utopian where everybody's just manifesting, or is there always going to be this balance of negative frequency and negative manifesting that puts the pressure on us to grow? And you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, because people are like,
it's a good question.
why would God allow wars? Why would God allow suffering? And to a point, like, the suffering and the challenges make us who we are. But is there some balance that always has to be in existence on earth of light and dark?
Well, we are in a duality, right? That's, there's up and there's down, and so we have the appearance of two of everything with, good and bad and positive and negative. And so we are in a duality, and we do have that experience. So that's why you see all of these things happening around the world. And I guess it's just our, humanity's journey. But in the end, yes, it's utopia for every single being. Not one is excluded. And it is knowing that you're completely free, knowing the divinity that you really are, and you are 100% joy, love, clarity, freedom, all of those things, beauty, like every single one of us. Innocence is what we are: beauty, freedom, joy. And so we don't experience that here, but for some darn reason we wanted to have this experience. We wanted to experience what it was like to get hurt or feel sad, because we're all the time in joy. And so we're having this experience. But for me, from my journey, there is, according to the teachings, no one hurt or harmed. Right? So no one dies and no one hurt or harmed. And sure, I can think of heaps of experiences that I've had where I've felt hurt, but ultimately, is what the teachings say, ultimately no one is hurt or harmed, because it's really just like a dream. And in a dream we're not hurt or harmed, right? It feels like we are, but so yes, at the at the end, but it's probably a long way away. It's probably some years away.
Yeah.
It's probably some years away, but I want people to know that they can have heaven on earth now. They can. And this is what I think is so incredible about this time now, because in our history, there are just, a very small amount of human beings that found that heaven on earth. And now there are a lot more. And the way to begin is to control the mind. That's the first step. I truly, but that was my first step. And I am convinced it was so easy. I always felt it was so easy to do. Put on a piece of music, do anything to feel better, right? Just do anything to feel better. Know it's the most important thing, and just do anything you can to feel better. And I'm not saying deny anything that's happening, because that's no good either, to deny anything that's happening. But when you feel, what it's like if you have a problem and you go to bed and you can't sleep, and you can't sleep and you toss and turn and whatever, and then you get to sleep and you wake up in the morning and it doesn't even seem nearly as bad, as it did the night before. And it just shows you the different perspective that we can have from a few hours.
Yes.
And so you can go through life and things will happen, but they just don't affect you in the same way. Like the way that those things affected you, like a phone call affected you and sort of threw you off. And to go through life where nothing affects you like that, you're just not affected. It's just doesn't no emotions come up, nothing bothers you anymore. And really the way to do that is to, first of all, train the mind to have control of the mind. You have then control of the world
Yeah.
when you do that. And then you can move on to the next stage after that, which is not resisting any emotions or anything that appears that you think is negative, and not resisting it, and being okay with it. Because I think it was Byron Katie who said, if you fight life, you'll lose
Mm,
every single time.
totally.
And you know what? We're always trying to fight things that have already happened. Right?
Yeah.
Right. It's like already happened. But if you have control of your mind, you can take something that's already happened and you can totally turn it around. On a mental level, you can totally turn it around.
Yeah.
You've got to think about what you want. What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And the mind's going, I don't want this. I don't want this. And you have to be, I want. And think about what you want. And think about what you want. Think about what you want.
Yeah. And know that, I think we don't realize how much we limit ourselves,
Yeah.
and so, acting as if, can you tell a story, one of your favorite stories of where there was just no way, whether it's for you or, your millions of followers who have shared stories with you, where there was just no way that they could get what they wanted, but they acted as if, and and then
Right.
it appeared. So just because I really think we get trapped in people are like, well, I get this much of my paycheck. There's no way I can afford this. They're limiting the universe,
All the
showing
time.
opportunities that just weren't even in their consciousness. So how do we keep those limits off of us and just not focus on the how and just focus on what we want and
Right.
believe?
So one of the things is, because there's kind of a world belief that money only comes to me through my salary and my work, right? Most people believe that. That's what they believe. And so if you think about that, that is stopping the universe from giving them unexpected money from everywhere, from everywhere. And so the very first thing to do is to do an affirmation that overrides that belief that the world gave us, and to say, money comes to me from everywhere, from all unexpected ways. And to really say it until you start to see that money coming in.
Mhm.
And so that's just a really simple example. But I remember there was this woman who wanted to buy a horse and she couldn't afford a horse. There was absolutely no way she could afford a horse. And so what she did was she went and got a bridle. I think it was a bridle. I'm not a horsey person, so, but it was even though I absolutely love horses and my
Yeah.
daughter rides them, but so she bought something really simple and she put it on her kitchen table. And so she was saying to the universe, I have the bridle and there's an absence of the horse, because I am convinced that the universe bores a vacuum. I'm convinced. I've proved it time and time again,
Okay.
right? It bores a vacuum. So you got to create the vacuum. And so she did, that's exactly what she did. She got that and she put it on her kitchen table and she looked at it every day as though that belonged to the horse that she had. And she got a horse for nothing. And the way she got it was through this person, this event, that, like this whole string of things. And she got this most incredible horse, and that's the way it works. And all she did was to do that, was to have a bridle. So I remember there's other wonderful story of this woman who was walking. She was going to a meeting, and I think she was in the UK, and she walked past a bridal store. She wanted to meet her perfect partner, right? And she went on all the dating things and she couldn't meet anybody. Anyway, she walked past a bridal store, and for some reason, she has no idea why, she went into that bridal store and tried on a bridal dress. She didn't have a partner, nothing. She bought it. She bought the dress.
Okay.
She walked out the door and she actually physically ran in to a guy.
Oh my God.
Physically ran into a guy and ended up by going to a meeting, having coffee with this guy who she ended up by marrying.
Wow.
She created a vacuum,
Yeah.
right? She
Yeah.
really did. Yeah.
That's
So yeah, there are lots of, amazing stories like that. And people, like, I remember the Spanx lady, I've forgotten her name. She's so great too. She asked the universe for $1 billion idea.
wow.
Yep.
And Spanx came.
Yep.
Wow.
And it came, and she had her scissors and cut out all the things, and that's what she got, $1 billion idea. You can ask for anything.
Wow. Thank you for listening to the Heal Podcast. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for more empowering wisdom and inspiring healing stories. And make sure you hit the follow button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss that one episode that holds the answer you've been searching for. And please rate and review us so that we can grow and reach more people. Thanks so much, and be well.